All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the last engineering of the markets for the week. It is Thursday, December 22nd, 2022. My name is Jared, and happy Thursday to everybody, of course. Um, as the title of today's show suggests, we are looking at some lessening volatility in the market, albeit there are still trades to be had. No one could argue yesterday that the market was choppy because we did have a pretty classic trending session. Some of that had to come from one of the catalysts yesterday, and that was consumer sentiment. We saw not only the gap up get defended by the sort of algorithmic buying that we're experiencing in the market, but at 10 o'clock Eastern, we did see that break of high of day and sort of the 1 to 2 hour advance, which is pretty classic of a trending session. And then, of course, we get sort of a lunchtime or mid-session range, which for the most part offers some high to low opportunities, but you do have to temper your expectations because, as you notice, the market can stay range bound for not only the entire session, but oftentimes at 2 o'clock Eastern or 1300 for my timestamp. Normally, we can see things like a VWAP retest, and that's sort of your afternoon pull down and usually a little bit of profit taking, along with the potential for an advance. Just because we trended in the morning doesn't mean we have to give it all back. We can certainly keep pushing higher if that's the process of the market. So we knew a bounce was coming. The oversolds were getting kind of noticeable on Tuesday. Wednesday, of course, we saw our actual gap up and go. And then the question then becomes, what are we doing with this type of price activity? Should we be preparing for another sort of short play? Should we be following the hourly uptrend for the time being and maybe trading some of these highs to lows? What are some things to look out for? And then last but not least, wrapping up the year and kind of putting a bow on 2022 so that we can look into 2023 with fresh viewpoints. So for me, I think my S&P thesis kind of remains the same. We are bouncing, and the retracement size will kind of tell us whether this is an opportunity for a flag. Anything that's under 38.2 would be ideally bear flag territory, and more ideally rejecting 390 to 391 would offer some pretty good risk to reward based on how the previous range has established. Additionally, just seeing the structure of the market, there was a much stronger selling volume presence on the breakdown, and the bounce does have some of the slight increase in volume, but we are kind of heading into a slower period for the rest of next week. The NASDAQ as well still looks a bit concerning. We're barely hanging on to June lows at this point. The bounce itself is also lagging the S&P. So sometimes you can look at just the comparison of the SPY to the QQQ. Probably want to do more of a ratio here. But I could do a pairs here. This is something I do need to learn in this platform. Just give me 1 second here. So something as simple as a QQQ divided by SPY, sort of a ratio. If the S&P does have fuel on a rally, ideally we'd want to be seeing tech stocks lead. And there's a few ways you can kind of look at that. Pure tech stocks like an XLK ETF or just comparing the NASDAQ to the SPY. And what you're essentially seeing is a ratio of relative performance. Not only is the NASDAQ underperforming, but on the rallies, I find that the ratio really hasn't improved much, which keeps me bearish. This is, in all sense and purposes, a back test, and oftentimes will be lost in the near future. So I'll be looking to see how this ratio plays out, and you'll notice that in periods of stronger recovery, this is actually a similar kind of performing chart to how the markets bounce and fall back down. NASDAQ leading and lagging is a pretty good indication of whether something's going to hold for extended periods of time. So leave that up for now. The thing that I would be focused on for today, and it's really our only catalyst today that might drive some price activity, are jobless claims. So at the end of this, we're going to be seeing continuing jobless claims. Once again, this is the one of the major drivers of Federal Reserve interest rate decisions. Seeing improvement or reduction in these numbers will drive some sort of future probabilities of the Fed fund rate. And all in all, this is kind of the last item that the Fed needs to start seeing change relative to returning to a period of quantitative easing. I do find that the outlook for the rest of 2023 is fairly well set as to how the Fed will increase their target rate up to approximately 5%, along with the market speculation that around May to June of next year, we'll see the first signs of either a pause or the first potential rate cut. And usually this is not only based on the CME probabilistic view, where we're looking at those bar charts to figure out what sort of the next couple of meetings will look like. We've obviously looked at this a few times throughout the year. But looking out in time and seeing how we get to our target rate, along with does the market think that there are rate cuts incoming, given that certain probabilities are met in earlier meetings. So this, along with the 2-year Treasury notes, let's see, the best way to probably view that is here. You could do like a guru focus, or you could just pull up the 2-year yield. The 2-year and the Fed fund rate tend to be strongly correlated during most cycles. And anytime there's a discrepancy between like the 2-year versus what the Fed fund rate is projected towards or currently priced at, that's often the market saying within this period, they're expecting the Fed to either start to reduce, or this is the highest level that they're going to get to. And it's more of a bond market prediction. It's where some of the probabilities are built from. And remember, the 1-year yield is reflective of sort of the end of 2023. And this is indicating that we will be seeing that 5 to slightly under 5% target rate. But 2-year, this is a little bit more leading. And as far as currently, they are projecting that we're going to be seeing rate cuts somewhere in the tail end of 2023 and then leading into 2024 with the idea that we kind of get to about 4%. This will obviously change over time, but it's the first time that we saw the Fed fund rate priced higher than the 2-year yield this entire year. So the 2-year yield has been leading or ahead of the Fed fund rate the entire year. So some nuances there and some changes just to kind of keep abreast of. All in all, I think a lot of other setups are still on the table. We're looking at some dollar divergence. They're trying to basically bounce monthly supports. We haven't really seen the breakout yet, but some of the disruption with the Japanese yen is keeping this trade suppressed. And that's going to affect gold, which has a similar structure. And then while silver is not quite the same, I would argue that silver could lose its uptrend on any sort of dollar rally. Right now, silver has a characteristic by price, more of a channel. It's less compressed than dollar happens to be. And for now, we're noticing new highs, but they often start pulling back immediately. So more channel-based trading, a little bit harder to manage because you are buying into some 70 to 80% retracements on a previous advance if you're bullish. So gold and silver kind of dependent on dollar, but all in all, there has been outperformance in metals. Commodities have also started to outperform, more so based on that dollar suppression and the move from Japanese yen back into some other currencies that is more inflationary for the commodity price. So don't really have much else, unfortunately. I wish I could offer a bit more. Feel free to put up some tickers or some things you'll want to look at. We can kind of scout around a little bit. MU did have earnings. We were just looking at some weekly supports. About 48.24, I think is what we marked. And that's off of this low here. 49.30. Yeah, sorry, 49.30 should be what's marked here. I can see why we're bouncing that in the morning now. The earnings were a little bit worse than maybe the market expected, but they weren't necessarily out of boundary of the estimates. More so forward guidance and a little bit of cyclical pressure on semis. MU does have about a 2.8 expected move, so be looking at close price relative to opening price and kind of anticipating if they're hitting the expected move, how much further should it go relative to something like a bounce that's starting on the stock. So let's see. Why do you think XLE and USO are diverging? I'm not sure. We just noticed the divergence. The Y is more macro. So there are macro forces keeping some of the crude demand high relative to the energy stocks, which have been an outperformer. But as far as the width of the divergence, it's a pretty rare gap to see in those two commodity prices or those two asset classes. So see, there are new indicators on the trading terminal. That's an interesting question. So let's look at what we got. So some of the changes for trading terminal, we see advancing and declining. So it looks as if there are a basket of stocks. I'd have to see if this is like NYSE. This might be, it could be NYSE actually with that number. That might be all NYSE. And this should be a daily representation. So yesterday, whatever basket of stocks this is, they were 67% advancing. Neutral typically is like a boundary between how flat they were on the session. And, if it's exactly zero, that might categorize the neutral, but there might be a little bit of a boundary there. And then, of course, declining. So for the most part, yesterday was a bullish day. It wasn't all out bullish. There were still pockets of weakness. But this indicates that that's what yesterday was. New highs and new lows. Once again, I'd have to see, this is 1324. That's a relatively large number, so I'd have to question what high are they referring to. It could be relative to the previous session's high. So like you can have an advancing stock and it still be contained within the previous session's highs and lows. This could indicate that they'd made a new high relative to the previous day high. And once again, a new low relative to the previous day low. So oftentimes you can use those two bits of information to see that while you might not have had many declining stocks, the ones that were declining were breaking a previous session or previous relative low. I just have to figure out which low they're referring to. And then this one should be pretty straightforward, whether stocks are trading above or below their 50-day SMA. Once again, a basket here should be the same number, and then above or below the 200. So this gives you an idea of market breadth, whether there's a relative uptrend across the market on the 50 and 200. Keep in mind, though, that this does not account for the slope. You can be above the 200 MA and still have a sloping down MA, and that's often still a downtrend. And those are usually shortable areas. And same thing with the 50. So let's see, is 200 reachable for BA for the end of the year? Let's take a look. Well, it's at 196, so yes. I mean, it moved $6 yesterday, so could it move an extra $4? Yes, absolutely. How could it do it? Look at how the price responds. So far, what BA is doing is grinding. It's a little bit of a channel, but it looks to be expanding relative to this high. So the question is yesterday enough fuel on what has been sort of a persistent uptrend and a weekly breakout? Is this enough fuel to just reach for 200 and get that move over with? Because if I'm looking at the daily, every time you buy this upper trend line, you have to deal with $15 of pullback approximately. And this one right here, the only difference here is that this advance came from a higher trend line. So it is getting stronger. That's the idea. If you have an advancing stock and there's a new trend line that breaks a high, this becomes the new point of reference. But the risk is still down here if it ever fails, because this trend line is the only thing supporting price. You can probably see that on a short-term time frame as well. Looks like I'm not anchored perfectly here, but something like that. And then you can mark off these lows and highs a little bit more cleanly. So I mean, is it within BA's volatility for 200? Absolutely. It's better to ask those questions when it's at support. Because if I want to play to 200, I need to have a risk that allows 200 to be profitable. So I can't really take much downside to get to 200 at this price. And then at that point, what are you doing? Are you shorting? You think 200 is like a top. And to me, there's no information about that. It could be. It's definitely hitting another weekly pivot, but it could pop through 200 before that happens. BA also has some inverse correlation with the dollar, because if international markets are getting stronger with dollar weakness, there are some aspects of BA's core business model that would allow for more transactions of their airliners and more business to be done. So, okay, so looking at YouTube, Tesla, the hottest stock that everybody wants to buy, but no one can find the bottom. So what happened yesterday? We did a gap fill. What happened after the gap fill? Not much. We kind of chopped around. And in fact, on a day when the market was rising, Tesla stayed suppressed. So the more information we get down here, the better. We finished a gap fill, but there's no upside yet. So most risk relative to price is around this gap fill. Anyone who was kind of speculating that a low might be placed yesterday is probably risking the gap fill, because if it keeps selling, it's unknown. There's no other supports. The one that everybody is waiting for is near 125 to 130. So the question is that risk to reward good? As a bear, I think there are some bears starting to cover out, but it doesn't mean it's a long. It's still in a downtrend, and it's still making fresh lows every single day. So just be careful assuming. It's classic analysis here of like, why would I buy a giant red candle and assume that the market's going to reward me? We haven't seen a reactionary low, so why would we consider a bounce? And as a bear, you're just playing the momentum. As long as it keeps making these lows, you're fine. But there will come a day when this thing bounces and you'll probably want to get out, because you don't really know the width of the bounce. It could be like this, or it could be small, at which point you just short again whenever it breaks. So, but yes, there's a lot of oversold conditions here. People are looking for a bounce. It's not happening yet. There's no indication yet. Yesterday was a pretty tight candle. So breaking yesterday's high would be a first very, very minute indication that a bounce might be starting. But it needs to trigger. You can't speculate, because you need a stop. You need to put a stop somewhere. And then, of course, the bearish case is that you're kind of late to the party. This thing's been selling for a while. Amazon, similar here, lots of relative weakness in consumer discretionaries. On a day when the market bounces, if your sector is making a 52-week low, it's divergent. It's not strong. It's a very simple if-then scenario. If your sector makes a fresh 52-week low on a bounce day in the market, then there's still selling going on. There's still problems. Are we hitting some interesting levels? Yes, pre-pandemic highs. But we've already hit them before and bounced. So right now, things are still kind of unknown in these levels, because we're actually breaching to new lows so far. This could turn very quickly into a pin bar. But I mean, I wouldn't be super bullish, because the market has not been rewarding those bull plays unless they're short term. It just depends on your strategy. If you're taking a risk, be risk defined, because your downside right now is unlimited. There is no clear support that is held to a degree that you could trust it. You're just speculating on a candle. So, but relative weakness is relative weakness. XPEV's kind of interesting. I did see the 2-day advance here yesterday. We finally kind of got over this trend line. There is some potential here. I would want to see the back test. We're already kind of leaning a little bit. Ideal horizontal supports would be probably like right here. Just the simple fact that we sold, came back up, and then we want to come back in and reconfirm. So I like the bullish play here. The chart indicates a little bit more upside. There is a potential weekly higher low forming, and there's already a very short-term one here. These are kind of hard because it's not a very clear breakout yet, but a new higher low into a new higher low, and there's probably a trend line there. Most bullish plays would probably just be playing for recovery anywhere in these regions of kind of chop, or something as simple as a weekly low that got broken. And there have been some charts that have done that. It's not rare to see this, but you need some setup. That way the setup makes sense. UNH. So this one's been overall bullish. We kind of need to look at the volatility here. You'll notice where rising support happens to be. It's approximately the 50 weekly. The issue I have right now is we are making a lower high so far. We have a higher low that supports this move. So right now things could be a little suppressed. The issue is we're waiting for this thing to break out. If you're bullish, it's just a very strong relative stock that is yet to break out. Be careful if it never does. This is a longer term range, and the range play is just tightening up. But with that, I am bullish healthcare. So I would say a little bit more of a bullish lean. Just know where your risk levels are. You never really want to lose the 50 weekly. If that ever gets lost, there's a problem. So that would be the ideal play. Shorts, you could probably kind of scrape off the highs, but eventually one side's going to give, because things are getting a little tight here, especially for the volatility of the candles. Most of these weekly candles are $30 approximately. So if either side breaks, that'll kind of trigger some bias for the stock. Okay, we have about 1 minute. Jobless claims should be coming out shortly, along with GDP. So volatility is incoming. I'm going to go ahead and stop here. Stay tuned for pre-market prep with Carlos and Norm. Like and subscribe if you love the content. We'll talk more next week, and have a great rest of your week of trade. And as always, happy holidays, and hopefully everybody enjoys their weekend time off from the markets. So see y'all next Monday. Talk to y'all then.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to PreMarket Prep. I hope you're having an amazing morning. Hopefully you had an incredible day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How are you doing today?
Hey, good morning, buddy. I'm doing all right. How are you?
Doing good, my friend. Yeah, guys. It's shout out to Jad for engineering the markets every morning, guys. I know there was not a whole lot to go over today, and our gappers list is showing that, and kind of leading towards the holiday weekend, which is kind of in a little bit of a chop fest for the most part. So with that said, today's gap list, some stuff in the green here, got a couple of stuff in the red. MU reported yesterday they're down 4%. So we'll look into that. But again, just a very quiet start right now. Numbers came out right now, Norman. I see the SPY reacting. Not sure if you have those yet.
Yeah, we just had a GDP revision come out. It came out at 3.2% versus 2.9 expected, so a little bit hotter. Didn't get the jobless claims number. I didn't hear it. I was listening for the other stuff and watching it. But let me see. I can grab it real quick if you just give me a split second. Where are we? It's been buried. A whole bunch of stuff came out. So jobless claims 216 versus 222 expected. So essentially in line. Core PCE prices 4.7 versus 4.6, a little hotter than expected. So yeah, getting some volatility in the markets. Our list is going to change a little bit in the next couple of minutes. So
Yeah, we'll see how that's going to shake out here and what opportunities will come our way. Let's take a quick look at some of the stuff we had yesterday. And I got to tell you, the SPY traded better than some of the tickers I had on deck. So if we look at the SPY 5-minute yesterday, and we take a look at how this traded, it actually traded very, very nice. And Apple was probably the only stock on my list that actually followed the overall market, and that's why Apple looked so good yesterday. So this is the SPY here on a 5-minute. Let me show you Apple on a 5-minute yesterday. Pretty much identical. So if you're watching Apple, it was on my list. I didn't trust the breakout. I have to be honest. I mean, it's been a pretty choppy, so I didn't trust it was going to break out here, and it did. It broke out really nice. And you can see how well that traded there. But for the most part, everything else on here, guys. I mean, look at Tesla yesterday. And Jared hit this right on the head too. You know, when the market's trending higher and Tesla is not following suit, it's a bit concerning. And I saw that yesterday as well. I was shocked that it wasn't moving higher. Just a lot of issues going on there right now, as it is pretty much flat right now and going red. I won't be surprised if we're making new lows today. We have FedEx and Nike both with earnings. Again, these are tougher to trade, so not really clean. They lose volume very quickly too, right? They get the pre-market going a little bit, and then volume dies down fairly quickly on these. I'm not a big fan of them. Even Amazon struggled to follow the overall market, as you see here, struggled to get to break from the high of the day there, and just every candle almost overlapping the previous one. You know, very long wicks on the 5-minute at least. For the way I trade, this is just not a great situation. CCL reported before the open, and they didn't do anything great. They had an initial drop, and then the market kind of recovered a little bit, and it just went sideways, like almost right where it started dropping from the report. So it's just not a whole lot going on there. They did receive a positive information though, or news at least, or guidance, I want to say. But again, it's tough with this market right now. So that's what we had yesterday on deck. We had Oxy and XOM as well. And again, just not a whole lot that look rather great yesterday. So let's take a look at today's list and see what we have going on here, guys. We're going to go ahead and Control A, Control X. Okay, let's see if it works this time. There we go. Wasn't working yesterday, but today's back on track. And let's see what we got going on. Let's see Alvo this morning. We're not starting in the right foot right here, on the right side of things.
Just get rid of it.
Let's go to the next one, guys. For those, just for the sake of those new, this is just horrible pre-market activity. There's just nothing going on here at all.
And the reason for that is primarily this is a company based in Luxembourg.
Yeah, so it's just horrible, guys. So
nothing against that tiny country, but when you get foreign stuff with foreign exchange problems and it's a drug manufacturer, generally just don't trade very well. So.
Yeah. Heading down to CLF, and this is Cleveland Hills, and we've seen this many times on our. I think at one point we liked it. We did levels here. Might have been on this gap down. Maybe they have some good volume. Not typically. Let me change this color. Something more pleasing. Not really one that we like to watch. Today they're up north 4.1. Anything interesting happening here?
Yeah, there's steel company, and prices are up, so they are moving with it.
All right. I don't think they're going to trade well. I think the volume is just too light on this one. We'll come back.
Not the greatest trader of all time, but it might be secondary material. I think we're going to have a decent trading day today. I just think it's going to take a little while for things to develop.
All right, we'll see how this one does here. We'll slam this on our secondary list, see where that goes this morning. Billy was gapping up today, now only 2.2 this morning. and 255,000 shares traded. I think Baba was on here as well. So I saw a slight gap on the Chinese tickers. We're talking about XBEV was the only one, and Jared mentioned this as well, that was gapping down today. It's not on this list no more. But Billy's interesting. I like the gap up and the gap down here. Baba, again, not a whole lot of volume right now. Billy as a possible. They look the cleanest this morning, but I just don't know if that's going to be a great one for today. It's just coming back
How
down
you
to the
like
previous
that
day
bottom
close.
of the gap up list? Becky, Billy, Baba. Say that 3
Yeah,
times.
agreed, agreed 100%. Baba disappeared after we said that, but it'll come back. It's borderline right now. So yeah, so it's just not a blockbuster list by any means at the moment. Gapping down this morning, KMX. This is CarMax, and not a
It
great
is.
trader, but they're getting crushed today, guys. Down 13%.
I mean, we've spoken a lot about the Carvana problems.
Yeah.
They had earnings and just nasty. I mean, it's a nasty market to be in right now.
Yeah, it sure is, guys. So not a whole lot of fun. Things are just so expensive at the moment. So here's CarMax. It doesn't trade very well today. There might be some opportunities. Just negative news, here, and they lost a couple of levels of support, at least in here in the end of October. It could be something. I don't want to completely dismiss it, but I will keep my guard up because this stock tends not to trade very well. It's not a great intraday trader. Let's see how it does today. MU with earnings last night. Tonight this morning they continue to drop down 454,000. They're also, I saw them dragging slightly AMD and some other semiconductors, not by a whole lot. I mean, AMD's volume is non-existent right now, guys, at 219 when we're used to seeing this fairly high. And the daily, just the last couple of weeks, you can see just a slight decrease in volume on AMD. The last 3 days even lower. So and we're seeing that it just hasn't been all that great of a trader. And Nvidia also dropping down. Nvidia actually is pre-market. Although same amount of volume, the pre-market does look nice here, as well as the daily. So I'll put Nvidia as a possible. But MU, if there's a day that it will do something, it'll be today, gapping down here 4.3. And Norm, just overall bad guidance on MU for the most part.
Yeah, just earnings tough. Semis, we've been talking about it all year.
Yeah, they're hitting some lows here of end of September at the moment, trying to hold on to that and find some support. So again, MU, I like MU today. I like MU. Let's see if it can give you some good opportunities. All right, that's what we have on both sides here. Norm, anything that you have your eye on for today?
No, I think it's going to take a little bit to develop. Like I said, I think today might be a decent trading day. I think we'll probably have some decent action going into the end of the year, but it's just going to take a little bit to develop. It's not going to be our traditional nice gappers list. We'll see.
Yeah. All right, so that's what we have, guys, so far. CarMax and MU on our main list. Let's take it to both chats here and see what you guys like this morning. We'll start here with Mr. T, NVIDIA. Nvidia's on deck here. I like Nvidia's. It's active. It's active this morning. We obviously seen nicer volume than this, but I like the movement we're getting here. Down 1.6 in the daily. You got some levels here that if we lose, we can possibly get a run going here. Ape, what's going on there? Man, this thing actually did go under $1. Last time we saw it was a borderline, but now we're under $1 here at 70 cents, trying to break out. I don't know what's going on. But again, this is just something I don't want to be involved in.
They had a deal purchasing another theater, I believe, that fell through. That might be the cause of that. I don't look at this garbage ticker.
The point of this. What was the point of this? I mean, I don't understand what they were trying to do, but quite did not work out as planned. So yeah, this is just no good, guys. Let's take a look here at a PRQR lower float. PRQR, yeah, more of a penny type stock, guys, right? Hanging out below $1.50 here, 80 cents. Just overall, I don't like to trade these stocks. Today, this one is in play, guys. 6-7 million shares traded here, up 53%. Therapeutics company here, ProQR. Face approval, some kind of a good news on this one, Norm? Just out of curiosity. Not really interested in it.
I don't look at penny stocks, brother.
Yeah, yeah. So not really interested in it either. Be careful if you are going to be trading this one, guys. It is in play, but just make sure you have a plan for that type of stock and a strategy. AMC. Oh, what happened with AMC? What's taking place here? So Ape is
It's in the
going up,
same.
AMC's dropping.
It's the same as the ape. I mean, I don't know what's going on. It's weird stuff.
Yeah, yeah. If they're the purchaser, usually that's when they will drop. Right, we'll see that. That's normal. But I guess we'll wait to see more news on
Well,
this.
that would be the case if they were purchasing something, but they were. So they're saying reverse stock split. I mean, I
Oh,
don't.
okay,
I
it's
don't. I
different.
haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Hamish is saying equity raise, which would make sense for to see a drop like that.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen news of a reverse split. That having been said, I don't look at Ape and AMC, and they're under $5. So,
Yeah, they're tough to trade, even when they get
Hamish,
their
have you seen anything
rallies.
about a reverse split?
Announced capital raise. All right, so it looks like some kind of raise, equity capital raise there. Okay, thanks, guys. Yeah, we'll again, if you like this one, guys, I don't like stocks under $5, and especially this one. It's just weird at times, but I'll put it on here. It is in play. It is in play if you do like this type of stuff, right? It is in play, but I'm not a fan personally. um, let's see here.
Raph is on a roll this morning.
Yeah, this whole week he's been on it, man.
Are you drinking?
Oh man, let's go ahead. Let's start with ORIC. Started the holidays early. 53 up 53% this morning. 3 million shares traded. Man, this is
Okay.
yeah.
Somebody.
I don't know about this. Yeah, what we got?
Oh, I don't know. Some complex thing about Ape and AMC. I don't know. It's all garbage. Sure was fun when it was 2021 and those were memeing, but now it's just a
Yeah.
dumpster fire.
It's pure garbage. There's nothing happening there. So here it is, guys. Oric, I hate the daily on this. Just started getting volume yesterday. It was flat yesterday. I just don't like the daily on this. I don't like the pre-market action at all. It just smells funky here, man. I'm just not liking this at all. Let's go over to what else we have, guys. So be careful on that. What's the news on this investment coming in from Pfizer? Okay. Pfizer's not. Yeah, it's just I don't know how that catalyst is going to trade today, but again, just be careful. It's up 55%.
Raph just read my mind. He says, "Man,
Yeah.
we're reaching this morning," and I could not agree more. I was about
Oh
to say
yeah,
the same thing, and then I saw your comment.
yeah, there is nothing that looks great besides, let's wait to see what the market does. That's really it. All right, what else, guys? Anything else? Nope, nothing on our chat. Let's go over to our YouTube chat. We have XPEV. Yeah, XPEV. Yeah, it was doing some stuff here. It's dropping some more again, down 2.5 with volume. Yeah, XPEV got something going on. I don't know what the news is, but it's got volume. It's got volume down 2.6. Let me just check some of our other Chinese type tickers. Neo is dropping as well, so Neo's starting to get going here. Yeah, let's put them here in case there's something happening there that we might take advantage of. This is good volume already on XPEV, 817,000, and Neo not so much, but it looks to be dropping as well. So let's keep an eye on those. Just gonna check Baba quickly. Baba not so much. Baba's actually gapping up 1.7. So it just seems to be like maybe an EV thing with the Chinese tickers. And of course, how can we forget about our buddy Tesla, which is dropping further, testing the low of yesterday, and possibly, of course, a new 52, whatever, how many days low here. So yeah, Tesla in play as well, guys. Good one here. 1.7 million shares traded, and it's just a complete bloodbath on XBEV here this morning. I'm sorry, on Tesla. XBEV is the only interesting one for me. Yeah, XBEV does look good. Does look really good here. They got good volume, which is a lot. 800 something for them this early on is over what they usually get. Fabio also on YouTube mentioned XBEV, so that is good. What do we have here? Tesla, we have Netflix and Amazon. Let's take a look at those. Netflix, Netflix doesn't get great volume pre-market. They don't get a lot of volume overall. So you'll have to wait for the market open really on this one. I'm unless I don't see great volume on this, unless I see great volume, I'm just not going to add it to my list. But there's been other moderators like Megan, I know Jared, Some other moderators been watching this one, so if they see something good, they'll call it out. They've been watching it for the last couple of days as well. So we'll see what's
Carlos,
happening
I'm
there.
not mad, but I am disappointed in you.
Why is that?
I can't believe AMC's on your primary list.
Oh, entertainment purposes only, my friend. Down 24%. Yeah, it's entertainment purposes only. No, but I did mention though, I'm not gonna be trading that. That's just there because I know people are gonna bring it up. But yeah, I'm not gonna be trading that. And it'll probably end up moving to my secondary list because things are starting to pick up a little bit on some other things that are
It's hard to
much,
borrow,
much
too.
interesting, like Amazon. Right? You see Amazon here. I like the daily on Amazon, 485,000. So I want to see that. I know it's part of our usual suspects, and we have to make room for Apple because, you know, again, I know this list looks long, but there's not a lot here, guys. It's really just a lot of our usual suspects: Tesla, Amazon, Apple, and MU making an appearance today because they had earnings last night. Otherwise, they would never be on this list. But yeah, once you put that list together and you look at AMC, yeah, you will move AMC down, no question. No question, no question. Let's do that now, actually. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I got like one too many. Let's see how things shake out, guys. We got tons of time for this thing to play out nicely here. Keeping an eye on PHVS. What is that? PHVS Farvaris from God, who knows where, man. This thing. Ooh. No volume. Not sure what you have. What caught your eye on this, right? Keeping an eye on this today. Not sure what caught your eye on this, but this is scary right now. The QQ dropped to test previous day close. Okay, the Qs are dropping. All right, I see that. Yeah, all right. So that's what's driving some of this stuff. SPY's dropping as well.
Yeah.
So you can see our gap down list starting to come alive a little bit here, with mainly usual suspects on there. But Neo and XBEV, why are they dropping so much? It's I wonder if there's something going on there.
There's news of COVID issues in China, just like we talk about every
Oh,
day.
the back and forth over there again. It's getting.
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't know
but
if it's back and forth, but apparently there's nobody in the streets and they're hiding cases.
okay. So some stuff happening.
Turns out
Okay.
China's not on the up and up.
Yeah. Makes sense where they have these kind of so strict type measures that the last couple of months, right? Where camps and all this crazy stuff. So something they're not sharing. no, no surprise there. Okay. What else, guys? Megan also trades Google. Yes, she does. Megan does trade Google. The five letter ticker here, which today dropping here with the overall market, but there's tons of stuff you can look at. I mean, look at Google dropping now, only 100,000. You can get the same drop or better on Apple, and you have 576,000, or Amazon, or any of these other tickers that are moving with the overall SPY at the moment. All right, guys, we'll see. It's definitely been, for me, December has been brutal, and not as far as P&L, but just as far as overall trades. I compare a few days ago. I compared December to November, and the number of trades that I have taken have dropped drastically. It hasn't been definitely the best month, that's for sure. Yeah, smash that like button, guys, over on YouTube. We appreciate it very much as we sit over at 74. If we can get 100 today, I'm just gonna go for 100. I'm gonna keep things with this watch list. Let's just go to 100, and we'll be happy. One more here, Meta. Meta this morning we are down 2%, 195,000. It's just kind of stuck here, man, between these levels. It's hard to get a run on Meta until we get some kind of news catalyst or just overall market dump, which seems to be happening right now. We'll see. We'll see. But I think, again, as I mentioned before, there might be better stickers that you can actually look at and you can take advantage of. So, all right, with that said, guys, let's get over to our community events and announcements. Let's go bring it over
Can you
here.
pull up the webpage, the webinars page?
Yeah, I was going to say, let's go there because...
Yeah, let's do that. Guys, each and every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern, with the exception of holidays, which, I believe we have one this weekend.
Yes.
So Monday, onboarding technology with Carlos is moved to Tuesday next week, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's the only webinar we're having next week. The other stuff, due to the holiday, we push it back, and we will be starting fresh to the beginning of next year. So Tuesday, first Tuesday in January, you're going to have Eamon talking about how to read price action. And then Andrew will be back from South America. And on the 10th, he's going to be talking about the 920 trade and building a trade book on it. Wednesday on psychology, first week, you're going to have Dr. Kenneth Reed on the 4th at 8 p.m. Eastern talking about gambling versus trading, game of probabilities, and Creda at 5 p.m. on the 11th, how to find your mental edge. Thursdays, we have mentorship. John is at 11 a.m. and Thor at 8 p.m. today. And yes, so Michael's asking, is the market open Tuesday? Yes, market is closed Monday, open Tuesday. Tradingterminal.com, we are building this out, guys. This thing is rapidly increasing in users and in functionality. We've got some really cool announcements coming your way. So look forward to those. We've got big stuff coming and all kinds of free tools that other people pay thousands of dollars for elsewhere for free. Don't forget about the Academy too. Carlos, before we get to this, could you boot camp and San Diego?
Yeah.
Guys, Peak Capital, we are about half full for the boot camp coming up on January 9th. A big portion of this is going to be live trading in a not a chat room where you guys can't talk, but like a Zoom/Google Meet type of conference where you'll have a small group of people that you'll be trading with. We are limiting the number of people in this drastically to about a third of what we used to have, and focusing on personalized mentorship, building a trade book, and everything else. So be sure to check that out. Like I said, 2 days a week, you're going to have live trading with mentors in an environment where you can chat with them, show your screen if you want to, things like that. So be sure to check it out. Looking forward to it. It should be a fantastic boot camp. Then in San Diego, March 2nd and 3rd, we are doing our next live event where we're going to have live trading. We're going to have conversations and presentations about all kinds of stuff. So be sure to check that out. Sign up, guys. We need to get an idea of how many people we'll have as soon as we can. I know it's the holidays. I know everybody is spending and everything else, but we've got limited space due to the fire marshal telling us we have limited space. So register there as soon as you can. Also, if you want, we are encouraging people to bring their families. I'm actually expecting to bring my wife and son. If you go down to the registration portion, Carlos, at the bottom, this is 2 days, guys. We did the event in Florida. It was an overwhelming success. So this is a full 2 days at the Hard Rock in San Diego. Beautiful place. But you can buy a dinner ticket if your spouse or kid or whoever is not interested in trading, but you'd like to bring them to dinner to meet everybody. We have that for the cost of the meal at the bottom. Be sure to sign up, guys. Appreciate it. And if you're watching on YouTube, you haven't been in the chat, use the promo code PreMarket24, no spaces, hyphens, anything like that. PreMarket24 for the intro membership. Get you a discount in 7 calendar days in the room. It does not auto-renew. It's a one-time payment. And 60% off the Holiday Elite annual membership. And we, once again, reminder, have to raise price at the beginning of the year. If your term expires at some point in the next year and you'd like to renew it now at that price and lock it in, you can. When you do so, it'll just add on 12 months to the end of your current membership term.
All right. Thank you very much, Norm.
I like that, Michael. I didn't even think about that. Indian Wells should be around that time. I don't know that if I want to drive that far. That's like a 3-day drive, and I don't really do that.
All right, my friends. Let's get to our list here this morning. We have CarMax, MU, XBEF, NEO, Tesla, Amazon, and Apple, which again, just all following the overall market at the moment as things are dropping here towards the lows from yesterday. So it will be interesting if we're going to find support here or are we going to continue to drop below that. So let's see what takes place. But yeah, things are picking up. Things are looking much better than they were when we first got on this show. So we started to get some movement here. We'll do some levels for the stuff we have on deck. I'm going to fine tune this list a little bit more. Again, as I mentioned before, I am not trading as much as I was the last couple of months. just because this month has been just so quiet. I don't want to say quiet, that's the wrong word. For the way I trade, this month has not been great. So let's look at CarMax here. Again, I like the drop here, but I like some of the other stuff that I'm seeing now. So CarMax is not really for me personally one that's going to be on my list. We'll make that possible. MU, I have it here. I think today that we might get something out of it, but definitely the least favorite of this main list up top. XBEV looks good. Neo looks good, starting to pick up volume there. They could be better, but they look okay for now. And then our usual suspects just following the overall market: Tesla, Amazon, Apple. You pick your favorite one. There's some other ones too. Nvidia actually was down here, probably looking much better now. You can move Nvidia up, but again, I got plenty of semis up here already. Actually, I thought I had AMD. Where's AMD? We looked at AMD. Yeah, AMD's actually looking very good today. Hasn't been in the last couple of days, but today's looking good. So plenty of stuff here, guys, for us to choose from that are following the overall Qs and the overall market. Right now, as the Qs are dropping down almost 1%, the Qs down 1.2 at the moment. So let's get to levels. Here is a MU, guys, losing some ground here. Lost this level over at 51. For the most part, they were staying above that. They found tons of support here. Kept coming back to test this level and always bouncing from that. We lost that this morning, so that could be interesting here as we move into the market open. Low of the pre-market at the moment, you're seeing that 48.82, which is showing some support over in September as well. Below that, there's a slight drop down at 41 looks like. So we can mark that there as well. Towards the tops, we complete this here. We do have 49.71 in there. You can see tons of days bouncing off of that, closing and opening at that 49.71. And then above that, you just got a ton of levels here, highs and lows, previous day close, everything there between 50 to 52. In that area, there's just tons of levels. You don't need to add anything else. The one level I want to get here is if we do drop below this this low here. When was the last time we've been down here? It's probably going to be 2020, I believe. Yeah, let's go to a weekly. It's been a while. Let's go to a weekly here. And yeah, early 2021, we were in this area. Just going to pick off two levels just in case we do get some kind of drop here on the MU. And we got a 46.51, and then right in here we do have a nice one over at 44.52. So just a couple of levels there that we can use as target if MU is going to drop. But again, this is probably one of my least favorite on here, just because the way they trade, they're not ideal day trading stocks. XBEV right now. It's got the volume. Pre-market starts to get going around 8:15 or so, right on here. So we start to get a little drop. Let's see what it does. Right now, stuck between the highs and lows of the last two trading days. Low of the pre-market, we're sitting at 1087, and then once you put that level there towards the bottom, you are set. The highs and lows doing a good job taking care of you there. Above this, we do have the previous day close, which is slightly below the high of the pre-market. High of the pre-market at 1143, so we'll slam one level there, and then a few levels towards the top in case we do start to push higher here. 1179, and we have 1232 there on XBEV. Okay, let's go to Neo and Tesla. Neo, Tesla, and XBEV, all EV vehicles are getting some good volume today. Not surprising, Tesla is, but notice Tesla today is not doing like their 4 million volume. So there's less volume than we've seen in the last couple of days during this time already. Still great, 2.2. I'm not complaining, but slightly less than what we saw in the last few days. Here is Neo. Neo, very similar situation as XBEV. I'm going to mark down the low of the pre-market at 1136. And once you do that, you're pretty much set towards the bottom. You do have your highs and lows down here below 11. And then above, you got the previous day close. And you also have 1187. The concerning thing about Neo is, are they going to trade clean today? They haven't been as clean on the intraday action like we've seen in the past here, end of November, beginning of December. This was a lot of fun. Haven't seen that in the last couple of days. So part of me tells me we might not get that unless the market continues to drop and we can get some momentum towards the bottom. We'll see. Might be more of a possible really on Neo. Now Tesla, of course, is one that everyone's going to be watching. Are we going to continue to shed some blood here and head lower? Low of the pre-market right now, 136.10. We're desperately trying to hold on above this. Below that, we do have the lows from yesterday, which hit all the way down to 135.90. So below that 136 that we're trying to hold on to now. And then we went to a weekly on this thing, going back to 2020 November timeframe. And right in here, guys, we're going to pick off some levels just in case. 127, the 58, just to have a gauge. Keep in mind, these levels are off the weekly, so you want to just don't put a lot of weight into them, but they could still be some good guidance for you to have an idea of levels you can pick off, some partials or some target points if this thing does drop. So was horrible yesterday, horrible. I mean, just the chop here back and forth, every candle overlapping the previous one. Today, let's see if we can get some kind of continuation either way. Amazon here, guys, surrounded by the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. I'm going to remove some of the levels we have from yesterday, and just going to mark down the low of the pre-market and the high of the pre-market. Low at 85.46, high at 87.07, and I'm just going to leave that just like that right there. I'm not going to add anything else. The market is really going to be the one dictating what Amazon does today. It hasn't really been doing anything on its own. Here's Apple. Probably the best trader yesterday was Apple. You can see how great that movement was. Again, the SPY traded better than many of the tickers I had on my list for sure. 135.95, 136 actually is the high of the pre-market. 133.80 is your low of your pre-market, and I'm just gonna keep that like that. We've been stuck within this range here for the last 4 to 3 days. Let's see if we're breaking out of that today. We're just going to go sideways. Let's see what this Thursday brings as the market continues to make some moves here. Here is AMD. So MU, right? MU had earnings. They gapped down. So many of the semiconductors slightly gapped down today. But MU this morning, we are down 2.1, 363,000. Your levels are pretty good on AMD here. I don't think you need to add anything really. You have your highs and lows towards the bottom. You got your high of the pre-market, pretty much where the previous day close is. I think you're set. Don't really need to add anything on this one this morning. So yeah, that's what we have, guys. Nvidia is going to 155 today, maybe 152. Possible, yeah, possible. I won't put it. That's 155. 155 maybe. I could see that. 152. I don't know about 152. 152 is what, down here? Yeah, I don't know if it can make that move today. We'll have to see. I mean, it's already down 2.5, right? So you're already losing $4 here. You'll have to lose a couple of more. I could easily lose another 4. I just don't know if you're going to lose that much today. But you just look at this guy. Whatever this guy does, that's what we're doing today. Whatever the SPY does, that's what's happening. So if the SPY decides we're going to lose some levels here to head down to 380, 378, then yeah, 350. Easily. If we head to 378, we're hitting 350 on NVIDIA. I mean, we're hitting 150 on NVIDIA without a question. I mean, it's just, this thing is not looking good right now. But that could change. We've seen these type of opens, pre-market activity before, and the market open goes in the other direction. So anything is possible. I think we're just going to get some sideways action. I think that's just my take on it. But we will see. All right, our moderators are coming out with their list. We have Thor with his list here. Megan, one SPAC opening up for today. We got Peter. So let's go into those in a few minutes. We do have time, only 9:05, so we have time for questions. Any tickers you want us to look at here, we can take a look at those and answer that as well. There was a crazy video on Twitter of hospitals looking a lot like the beginning of COVID here in the U.S. Dustin, or are you talking about China? You might have said that when we were talking about the Chinese tickers dropping today. Yeah, it's people are starting to get together, and what happens is they start spreading more than just love. Like my dad is really sick. He's just getting over it now, but he got COVID for the second time, which I would think it would have been much easier. Like the first time was like a regular cold, but this week he got it pretty bad, man. It was actually, we were surprised how bad he got this time around. So, and then my mom got it and she was like perfectly fine, right? So it's a weird type virus, flu, whatever you want to call this. Flu is coming back with a vengeance. I mean, it's flu season, right? It's flu season, right? You got everything going on, people getting together. Is just what happens. Um, China, Dustin. Yeah, okay, yes, yeah, I see. Yeah, some of the stuff that comes out of that. I mean, sometimes I don't know if it's if people are just over exaggerating to make a point, but it's yeah, some of the stuff I see over there is in China is scary at times. What's going on with AMC? So AMC's got a weird situation happening. They're either they're buying something or they're doing something with Ape. They're trying to be back in style. I have no idea, man. But overall, these things are just. We look at Ape right now, heading back down. This is becoming more of a penny stock now. 19 million shares traded. Man, who's trading this stuff? Be careful, guys, on this one. It just looks messy. And then we have AMC here. What was the final thing on AMC, guys? Did we figure it out? Is it a purchase? They're buying a theater that's not doing well. I don't know how theaters are going to survive. I really do not know how movie theaters are going to survive. Um, uh, it is just it is block. The movie theaters right now are like Blockbuster. It's what Netflix did to Blockbuster. That's what the movie theaters are. I mean, I after COVID, things reopened up. I went to the movie theaters once, and it was for my to watch a movie with my daughter. And just because that some movies when they first started reopening, a lot of movies were not being they were not available for to buy on demand, right? Like some of the movies you're available to buy on demand right away when they're released. These ones got to get people back into the theater. It wasn't, and we went to see it. But other than that, I mean, it's been months already. We went once, right? When in the past the theater was like uh, you know, once every other month type thing, right? So um, I don't know how that business is going to survive. I haven't been to the movie theaters in almost 8 years. I think some people still enjoy them. No, they are. There are people that still enjoy them. I used to know this couple that, and there's nothing better to look at right now, so we could talk about this. I knew this couple that they'll spend their entire day, older couple, they'll spend their entire day in the movie theater, right? They'll go there at like 10 o'clock in the morning. They're retired already. 10 o'clock in the morning, they'll just hop from theater to from screen to screen, watching different movies on a weekend that tons of movies came out, right? But I don't know, man. I don't know. I know. Listen, man. Old people are very interesting. As I'm getting older, old people are very, very interesting. Uh, I'd rather talk to them sometimes than the younger folks. Um, there isn't that much movies coming out. No, there's not. There really is not that many movies coming out, right? You used to get. Uh, uh, I remember going. What's the app? Used to go on this app, AMC app or whatever app, and David, Dave from Connecticut says he appreciates that. That's what I mean. You get along so well, David. Nah, David's young. Um, and you used to see like 6, 7, blockbuster hits that were out that weekend, and you had to the tough choice would not whether you was going to go to the movie theater or not. Is what were you going to watch? What were you going to watch that weekend? There's like 3 really good hits that you want to. Fandango, that's the one. Thank you, Dylan. That's the one. So I don't know. Nora, what's your take on that, man? Do you go to movie theaters? I know you got a nice theater at home. So I seen the picture of your theater, your in-home theater.
I've been, I think, 2 movies in the past 15 years.
Right. It's a dying business, man. It's a dying
I have a
business.
movie theater in my house, so that's
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah, I remember I saw what you built, and yeah, very, very nice. Come from your home, man. I mean, it's just you know what else? What else can you ask for?
Yeah, nobody's talking. I don't have to pay 6 times the amount I need to for food and drinks. Uh, it can be beer and not soda.
Yeah, yeah,
It's very comfortable. I don't have to listen to other people talk, unless my son talking.
yeah, yeah.
All those things.
Yeah. I agree, man. I agree. I don't know what this movie
Pause it.
theater is
Yeah,
gonna
all
look
these
like in
things.
in 5 years, what is the movie theater business going to look like?
I don't know, man.
You know, so um, all right, guys. This is what we have. So
NVIDIA's asking if I've ever been to Alamo Draft House. I think I know what that is. It's like one of those sit-in theaters. It's the only kind I'd go to anyway. Like they have them around here where you like sit at a table and eat, and there's a couple of them that actually have pretty good food. That's the only theaters I've been to in the last 15 years.
okay,
Like I
okay,
said, twice.
yeah, yeah. Um, all right, guys. Let's see what else we have. So we are actually we are pretty much set. I mean, I have MU bouncing a little bit here. XBEV looks like it wants to go lower. Neo, Tesla, and our usual suspects just hanging on here, just following the overall market. As Norm said, I think we'll have a good day today. But you just gotta wait. You gotta be patient. So don't rush that first, those first couple of minutes when things are bouncing around a little bit. Just be patient. Um, you know, and Netflix and chill. Yeah, yep, absolutely. No cell phone. Yeah, it's just reading all the comments here. Um, agree, 100%. Working in a movie theater was my job in high school. Best job ever. Free movies and popcorn. Oh yeah, during that time, But it's different though. Like I said, the amount of movies you had coming out on a weekend, you was excited about. Now it's like, what we had that was hot, that was really good. Top Gun was the last one, maybe. Um, I mean, that actually drove people to the movies. It's a classic, and people wanted to come go see it, and I could see that, and that's probably one that I would have went to, but just didn't get the chance to. So, my parents met working at a movie theater. Good, good, good. All right, Carlos, do you ever do ORB breakup on a stocks that gap down? Yeah, yeah, we done that. I'm aware that the stock is gapping down, and I got to be careful that you might not get a continuation. It might just be a pullback. It might end up being actually a rising devil, one of Brian's strategies, right? Yeah, I'm aware of that. So if it goes against me, I'm more aware that I need to get out quickly because it can just drop right back down to the low of the day. But we have done it. Again, we've seen stocks that gap down, and from the bell, they're entirely
We have
a
great recovery plays sometimes.
yeah, yeah, because you get these overreactions too at times where the pre-market was just an
Yeah.
overreaction on some news. It got to the point where it found support, went sideways for the entire pre-market action, and then market open. It's just everybody says, okay, we're done selling. We're going higher. So we see some really good bounces like that. You know who does that quite a bit too? Who's done it in the past and does very well? Apple. Apple always loves to do that. They'll sell down, and then pre-market opens and it just shoots up. We've seen a lot of plays from Apple like that in the past. All right, guys, 9:14. Let's get our moderators list here. And as we're doing this, let me bring this over. Hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. We appreciate it very much. Sitting at 135, which is pretty good for today. I'm happy with that number, giving how this list looks at the moment. All right, let's go ahead and bring this over here. And then tomorrow, guys, we're back at it. Tomorrow is Friday, so last day of the week before the holidays, and we'll be on at 8:30 as Jara is not doing Fridays, right? So 8:30 tomorrow morning. Join us then for to see how things went and to look at our watch list, build our watch list together before the holiday weekend. Here's Store, Disney, Oxy, AMD, MU, and Tesla. Megan looking at Amazon, Netflix, and MU. Reporting once back today, HSPOU. And then Peter's list, AMD, Apple, Tesla. Secondary list, Amazon, XBEV, and BABA this morning for Peter. So that's what we have. Wait for Brian to draw his list. That should be coming out shortly, and it will be good to go. CCL didn't really do all that great yesterday. It had the big sell down, right? The big sell down pre-market. We had the earnings release. So down, it just came right back up, and it just went sideways. It didn't really move up or down, to be honest. And today we're right at 837. It's just not really doing a whole lot here. And the only reason why this looks good, this move here, this candle, it was because it sold down pre-market and then it opened up here, so it looked like you had a good day. But you really didn't have this type of day, right? You really didn't have this, right? That's just the way things are recorded here. You take into consideration the drop and then the open. you really didn't have that type of day. You pretty much flat for yesterday. Just happened to be the way that thing was recorded. Kiwi Cat says, buy everything. I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. Oh man. All right. Let's see where our friend Brian is. If he's not around, we will. Yeah, I see him in chat. We'll wait because then usually I'll
He's
get.
working on his list.
Yeah, we'll give him a minute or two to throw some stuff out there and see if he has anything for fun today on his list. All right, just to recap our stuff, guys, we have MU on here, earnings last night. Again, looking very good today. If they're going to do something, 708, almost 700,000 shares traded this morning. That's actually pretty good for MU. We usually don't even get that much volume. XPEF, this is XPEF and NEO. They started off well here. I was very interested. Now they're just kind of going sideways. They might not really be in play, guys. Actually, XPEF might be the only one that's interesting today. Hamish is looking at that one as well. We're having some convo on that this morning in chat, so we'll look at that. Tesla, of course, and then everything else, guys, is usual suspects. So if you look at this list, there's really MU, XPEF, and then usual suspects, right? So the list is not that big. These are all usual suspects here. You really got 3 tickers if you want to kind of summarize things here a little bit. Which stocks will profit today? They all could profit today. We'll have to see. We don't know. We don't know, Paul. We'll have to see which ones are going to be the one. All right, here's Brian's list: Meta, CarMax, MU, and Amazon. So very similar to what we have. I have Amazon as well. Very similar to what we have on deck and the rest of the moderators. Guys, trade safe today. Again, be patient. This market is, it's not easy to trade. It's tough to trade. So if you're having a hard time, it's not just you. The market conditions are not the best for certain type of strategies. For my strategies, for ORB and breakouts, it hasn't been ideal, right? Too much chop for the way I trade. So be aware of that. Reduce your size, and we can't stress enough. And Norm said this earlier too. Just be patient. Let things settle in. And wait for it. And if you can't take a trade, don't take a trade. There'll be more opportunities again. And Norm, when does it pick up again? If we don't get the Santa Claus rally,
regardless of a Santa Claus rally or not, it's typically pretty good trading toward the end of the year. But
right,
not always the case.
It's a different market, man. It's a different market. I agree.
Just like we've had summers that are really great to trade. Usually they're terrible. Yeah. Not everything is 100%. So
yeah.
Got a lot of people on the sidelines right now, freaked out by the markets and the economy and everything else. So,
yeah, that's a great way to put it, man. And it's okay to sit on the sideline, guys, and let things kind of settle out. So nothing wrong with that at all. Guys, take care. Last one on Brian's list is Tesla. Have a great trading day. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 8:30 right on this channel. Have a good one.
Yeah, take care, guys. Trade safe.